Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host, Derailious, and today we're going to be going over Skyblock Update Point 26, which includes the Skyblock Resource Pack, the Loadout system, and a whole lot more. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe, use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order, and without any further ado, let's get started. To begin with, we have the Skyblock Resource Pack, which has received a few changes since the original release on the Alpha Network, but many of the textures are mostly the same, if not a little bit different than what they originally were. A lot of people have opinions all across the spectrum about this. My view of it is, if you don't like the texture pack, there's a lot of ways to disable it, and if you don't like certain textures, like for example, I do not like this aspect of the void, continue to advocate for those changes. In terms of other things related to the resource pack, though, I think most of the materials actually look really, really good. I'm a big fan of the majority of them. I know I just went to mutations, they don't have new textures, but pretty much anything that isn't an item directly, or a weapon, or a sword, or a bow, or whatever else, I think they did a good job on. I think the vast majority of these items look great. They match the style of Skyblock and Minecraft very, very well. I think it all makes a lot of sense. I'm a big fan of pretty much all of them. In terms of other changes, I'm a big fan of a lot of the new stat icons. I think they look really, really solid. And also, if you go to /mob types, you can see they've also given this a bit of a facelift. Things look fairly good. Totally understand, though, if people do not like the pack in its current form. We'll also talk about some stuff that the development team has stated about this in a bit. Next up, we have what I can only describe as the least controversial part of the new update, and that is the security hall as well as the associated quest. As you can see, Susan is in the back of the community center. You can speak to her, and she'll talk about the safety squad. You'll join the safety squad, you'll do a little quest where you go over how to stay safe in Minecraft, how to not lose all of your stuff in Skyblock, and after the quest, you will get access to a brand new talisman, which is currently right here. As you can see, it's the safety badge. This gives you 3 defense as well as some intel, and you can also speak to Elizabeth, and you can pick up a free booster cookie from her. I like this quest, it's very solid, it's good for new players, make sure you do it. For the last major new talking point, we can go into our Skyblock menu and we can see the loadout system, of which you can do a lot of things. First, you can basically set up pretty much any sort of armor, equipment, wardrobe combination, and use it as a loadout. So as you can see, I can take this empty loadout slot, I can right click it, I can then put on, for example here, let's just say my Sorrow armor. I can then click on my equipment setups, and as you can see, it works the same way as the regular wardrobe. You're able to drop stuff in. Let's just put on a bunch of Diana stuff for now. I can then grab a pet. Let's just grab a golden dragon. Then I can go with my Heart of the Mountain slot, my Heart of the Forest slot, my Power Stone, which for now we'll just use Hurtful, and your stats tuning slot. Let's just go with Strength. We can rename this to Magic Find. This is just for the purposes of the demonstration. I would never use this in any capacity. I can then go back. I can then click it. And boom, everything has been swapped. If you want to not use the loadout system, but just change your gear or your armor or equipment or whatever, you're allowed to do that too. As you can see, I can just click on the armor, and there we go. It's like the old equipment system. Just allows me to swap into whatever. Same thing with equipment itself. As you can see, I can swap around to pretty much whatever I want. If you want to take stuff out, you can do so, as long as you're not actively equipping it. You can also put it back in whenever you want. It's a very simple system, it's not too crazy. It will make the process of swapping gear and activities a whole lot easier. If I want to swap my Power Stone, I can now also do that from pretty much anywhere in the game, including in dungeons, which is pretty cool and pretty strong, I've got to say. I like this feature a lot. Same thing with your stats tuning, you're able to swap this around. Forget the fact that currently it's bugged out due to my mod and it doesn't look right on the screen. Just know you are able to load up your stats tuning. The system itself is really nice. Also, a thing to note, there is a 10-minute cooldown on swapping trees for your Heart of the Mountain and Heart of the Forest. The reason why is pretty clear. They don't want you to be able to take advantage of 2 different perks in quick succession. But if you want to swap quicker than that, you kind of can. As you can see, I can load up a bunch of stuff in my Heart of the Mountain. I can reset, wait out the timer, give it 5 seconds. There we go. Then I can go back in. I can load stuff up. And then I can reset it again, no problem. So you won't be able to do it through the loadout system, but you will be able to reset it faster and change it around faster if you're just experimenting or whatever through the actual Heart of the Mountain and Heart of the Forest itself. I think this is a fine trade-off. Next, we're going to move over to the forums as quite a lot has happened today, notably a major emergency maintenance. Notably, after the update was released, the team identified an issue that caused some players to receive 2 billion powder and whispers. To prevent this from impacting more players, they took the game down while they worked on a fix. This has been resolved, apparently, and if you notice any issues, please make a bug report. There was also a bug that spawned players in a void world. That issue is now fixed. However, they don't believe this caused any inventory wipes. And even as this was happening, apparently all of those items remained on the API, and if you logged out and logged back in at the time, you were totally fine. You would not lose anything. If you believe you lost items because of this, make a bug report. I've also seen reports from some players and even YouTubers saying that there was some sort of dupe, aside from the powder and whisper thing, some sort of like dupe held item thing. I don't believe that to be true. I don't think that that happened. Nothing that I've seen has supported that whatsoever. If I'm wrong about this, whatever, but I have not seen any evidence for this, and I don't think that it occurred based on everything that I saw today. Oh yeah, this is post-editing Derailious here. I can't believe I almost missed this, but the downtime is basically making the raffle extend all the way till Monday. So you will have a long time to get all of those raffle tickets, use all of those buffs associated with the raffle. A long time indeed. Very nice of them to extend it. Next, we have a big section going over the Skyblock resource pack, as well as the license and community support. The TLDR for the license, from my point of view, is that if you are a creator, you're free to use the resource pack in ways that are logical for a creator. For example, you can put a pack texture in a thumbnail and still monetize the video, from my understanding. You just can't claim that you made the resource pack. You can't take parts of the resource pack directly and then put it on a mug or a shirt or something and then sell it. That sort of stuff is disallowed. But if you are a creator, for most usual intents and purposes, you should be fine. However, I am not a lawyer, and you should read the actual license if you want to understand it in greater detail. You can see the file called license in the pack. It details what you can and cannot do with the team's assets. I think they did a great job with that part of the pack, at least the license. I totally understand, though, if some people do not like the textures, and that's where we go over the FAQ. First of all, is the team open to feedback on certain underwhelming textures? If you do not like a texture, tell the team which ones you don't like, and more importantly, why you dislike them. The art team is looking for feedback to steer them in the right direction. Since the initial version of the item textures were released on alpha, they have changed over 100 individual textures, and sometimes they have changed them multiple times. They are going to continue to make changes in the coming days, weeks, and months. What you see right now is not necessarily the final version for any given item. So if you don't like something, like for example, Aspect of the Void, go talk about it. I really recommend speaking about it in this thread, as well as on the forums, in the comments. That all works. Next up, they ask, when will XYZ item get a custom texture made for it? This is just the first version of the pack. The team wants most items in Skyblock to eventually have a texture. They will update the pack frequently. They also want armor and pets to be textured in the future, but that will take more time and care to get right. They want to start with more basic stuff, which makes a lot more sense. Why are you not adding a way to disable the pack? They realize some players may not like the official textures. They want those players to apply community-made packs on top of their pack as a base, rather than have them walking around with null textures or broken models after each update. Unfortunately, vanilla Minecraft does not provide a way for the team to load server resource packs beneath community packs. So until this is changed, they believe the vanilla customization experience falls short of what existing community mods can provide. And finally, why can't you provide a light version of the pack that omits all optional features? If they were to provide a light version of the pack, they would complicate their production processes in many different ways. A light pack is basically a second version of the resource pack that they have to maintain. By supporting multiple variants of the pack, they'd have to continue to create skull textures, they'd have to create alternative solutions to new content. It would basically be a pain in the butt, and they only want their designers and artists to know they have to design one item sprite and one texture per item. Not only this, but their entire production team knows that Skyblock now has a resource pack and can design and implement content with that reality already in mind. They hope that players enjoy it, they hope that players use it, but they understand that players may want to maintain that OG feel and look, and for those players, they feel that community-made resource packs are the best solution. In my Discord in the announcements channel, I have already linked a couple Modrinth mods that I believe are safe and good that you can use, and those can be used to disable the current resource pack. I have no promises, though, if you're watching this video in 6 months related to those mods. Just right now, when you're watching this video, those mods should be all good. Next up, we have the teams section on loadouts. We've already pretty much covered this. Loadouts allow you to save armor, all 4 pieces, your equipment, your pet, your accessory power, your tuning points, your Heart of the Mountain, and your Heart of the Forest. And as part of this, they've also added the equipment wardrobe, Heart of the Mountain, and Heart of the Forest loadouts, as well as additional changes here. They've increased the default amount of wardrobe slots from 2 to 4. They've made the first tuning template free, refunding everyone that spent bits on it previously. They've added community upgrades for loadouts, Heart of the Forest, Heart of the Mountain, and equipment slots, and they removed the full set first worn line from the wardrobe. They've also added an additional free Heart of the Mountain and Heart of the Forest slot. They've also increased the cooldown of Heart of the Mountain and Heart of the Forest swaps from 30 seconds up to 10 minutes. Basically, the team wants to avoid the concept of swapping around your tree often for minor reasons, such as inside and outside of mine shafts, which is why they're scaling back to 10 minutes. Next, they have the section on the security quest. It doesn't include a lot of new information, but the security hall area will apparently continue to see improvements in the near future. They're planning on adding a few more touches and information to it, such that players can check back there for security tips if they so prefer. There's also some miscellaneous changes. Notably, all enchantments are now removable via the enchanting menu, even if they cannot be acquired from an enchanting table. They've updated the Summoning Eye sound effects, and they've reworked the Golden Dragon's Gold Power perk to buff Midas items' greed ability. Because of this, they have buffed Ragnarok by 30 strength. Notably, the team writes with Ragnarok, they felt like they needed to nerf it just a little bit. It's in an awkward spot right now, but it shouldn't be too consequential in the long run, which I guess is reasonable. Players are extremely strong right now, and especially with new combat content in the pipeline, maybe a nerf every once in a while isn't the worst thing in the world. The team also has a couple bug fixes. Notably, they have fixed Spider Slayer's conjoined brood, sometimes not spawning when using certain items like Crimson Armor or Venom's Touch. They have fixed right-clicking on some NPCs with a Fel Pearl, actually throwing the pearl. They have fixed being unable to apply pet skins to rideable pets when pet visibility is off. And we also have an announcements roundup. Notably, they go over the Taurus Canyon sneak peek. There's also some other upcoming releases. They will be releasing some smaller patches to Skyblock soon. This includes a collection of improvements aimed at the new player experience and some changes and additions to the Harvest Feast event to address feedback given to us from the community. The Minister Perks update is also wrapping up development and will enter the QA phase very soon. Thank you for your patience regarding this update. And also they go over the Q&A with the design team. Wrapping up here, make sure to leave all of your thoughts about the update down below, including the security quest, the loadout system, and the resource pack. I definitely think that this update has some positives and negatives. I would have loved to see a solution in which the team could provide multiple different resource packs, but I also understand their responses. I am definitely interested in the future content for the game, and I think a lot of the icons and other items look really nice, and I'm excited to see how they expand on their creativity through the use of the resource pack in the future. Loadouts is already an amazing feature, and I'm shocked that we went this long without it. That is a huge bright spot, and I'm a fan of the security quest. Once again, though, would love to hear what you guys think about all of this. Look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then.